Well, I'll come to very quickly to the next two segments, because we're going a little over time, mainly because I talk too much, for which you must criticise me. Fourth, the new model republic. The republic which is going to be put to us is going to be a popularly elected president, but it's going to be different from the ones before. The trouble for the Australian Republican movement is that there are a number of Republicans who have indicated that if a popularly elected president is put up, as much as they can't stand the constitutional monarchy, they'll still vote for the monarchy rather than a republic. And prominent among them is Bob Carr, the same Bob Carr who threw the governor out of Government House. And the Republicans have a problem here. What they will propose is a popularly elected president which will appeal to Bob Carr and which they think will appeal to the real Republicans. Now, the real Republicans don't have Ted Mack, and they don't have Clem Jones anymore. They've both left this world, and they were the best real Republicans. But they have something else. They've got Clem Jones' fortune, or at least some of it. Clem Jones is a very rich man, notwithstanding being a Labor Lord Mayor of Brisbane. And they have a lot of money, and the ARM knows that they may well use that money to oppose the model if it comes up at a referendum. So a couple of years ago, Peter Fitzsimons met with David Breyer. There's a lovely photograph of them, which will appear on our Facebook tomorrow, if you want to have a look at it. They met together and they made an agreement. This was in the days when they still had plebiscites. Plebiscites were still going to be part of the campaign. And what they decided was that they would support one another's model. So the first question you'll remember is, do you want a republic with an Australian head of state? If they could get yes to that, the next question would be the model. There'd be another plebiscite to choose the model. They decided they would support whatever model emerged from that second plebiscite. So the question is, and I put it on Facebook tomorrow, the question is, when the real Republicans get this phony model of a completely worthless president who will have no powers, he's going to go and open flower shows and things like that, but he will have absolutely no powers. The whole point of the Crown as a constitutional guardian, all of the reserve powers will disappear completely. This person will be a puppet of the Prime Minister. The question is, will the real Republicans keep their principles, or will they roll over to the ARM? I suspect that if they roll over, it won't help them, because the sort of people who were voting to support them, and there weren't that many, you know, they didn't have an enormous support base except in Brisbane, and that was because Clem Jones had been a former Lord Mayor, and he ran a very vigorous campaign in Brisbane. But apart from there, I don't think they were such a strong group. So the question is, will they support this? The other thing which is important to know in relation to this is the Labor Party has been working, the leadership of the Labor Party has been working hand in glove with the ARM. There's no separate Republican policy. If you go back to the last platform of the ALP, which went to the election, I don't recommend you go and try and read it, because it's like reading a novel by Charles Dickens. It's about that thick. What happened a few months ago was Mr. Albanese was apparently trying to slim it down. And strangely, that fact was leaked to The Australian. Now, when something's leaked like that to a newspaper, it's quite often done by those who are doing it to see if there's support about what they're proposing. It wasn't so much about the part of the story in the Australian. It wasn't at all about the Republic. It was about some other matter which was newsworthy at the time. But I went and looked at the revised version. It's not yet been adopted, but it will be. The revised version by Mr. Albanese, and I found that the clause in relation to the Republic was no longer this long-winded clause about so many plebiscites and what would happen and so on. What I found there was just a simple line saying that the Australian Labor Party would be reforming the Constitution and proposing that Australia become a republic with an Australian head of state. Completely changed. They're obviously going to adopt the model which is going to be adopted by the ARM and which they're hoping the real Republicans adopt.